What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here. Hope you guys are having a really good week. And it's already Wednesday. So happy Wednesday to everybody. Oh, CJ messed up my camera. Give everybody a couple seconds. Sorry I was running late. Had to finish up a last-minute phone call there. What's going on, Kevin, Robert? Welcome, guys. And we got CJ on the keyboard. You sleeping over there, Robert? 5 minutes threw everybody for a loop. So we'll try to end the video 5 minutes sooner. What's going on, Kimberly? Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Happy hump day to everybody. As you guys can see, today we're going to talk about what a typical prison day is like for a federal inmate. And this question came from one of our clients who actually is going to be on our show Monday. I don't know if we're going to do a live video Monday or if I'm going to do a pre-recorded video Monday. But he is a client that was an attorney, caught an indictment, took a plea, is getting ready to go to federal prison, and he's going to come on and talk about his experience and what it's been like. And he had the question to me today that kind of generated the idea for this video. So I get the question a lot. What is it like? What is a day in prison really actually like? And I can only imagine where your guys' minds are going on that when you think about it. When you think about yourself going to prison, you might not know where to start. You might not have any idea at all. And you might have these crazy ideas that it's going to be like what you've seen on TV. And when I say on TV, I'm talking about TV shows like Locked Up Abroad, Prison Break, or the TV show Oz. Usually it's stuff that's pretty intimidating, pretty scary, pretty violent. Not a place that any of us would ever want to go. So that's what we are going to talk about today. And it should be interesting because my prison experience, now it's going to differ from yours and somebody else's. I do have some clients that are having a rough time in prison. But if you have severe medical issues, things like that, that can definitely play a role in your prison experience because as we all know, or as we all should know, medical in prison is not the best. It can actually be some of the worst. So if you have serious issues, medical issues, and you're going into prison, it could really intensify. God, I keep hitting my filter. It could intensify your issues through the prison system. So with that said, we're going to talk about the average person that's going into prison. Let me read some of these comments here. Any book recommendations for federal inmate relatives? We've actually got give her the link there, CJ, for yeah, for Randy Curse. His books are good. I think a book for anybody, whether you're going to prison, not going to prison, just having a rough time dealing with where you're at in your life. Awaken the Giant Within from Tony Robbins. I should put a link to that in there so you guys can find that on Amazon. But that's a great book for whether you're going into prison or you're a family member on the outside. And let's see, that's a crazy name. I'm turning myself in 3 weeks, and I have to surrender to a Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, the place that has 2 escapees who robbed down the side of the prison from 70 stories up. But I think I'm going to Leavenworth. Okay, so you haven't been designated yet, so you're still waiting for designation. 112 Tacoma, welcome. Happy hump day to you too, Jenny. Oh, Jenny made it. Jenny Good's in the room with us. Finally, Jenny got her YouTube working there. We see Jenny with a little wrench. So we got Jenny and C. We gotta get CJ an icon there. He's just a blue guy. It's like Blue Man Group over there. Incognito. We got to get him a nice little presentation. So, going to prison. What's it actually like? Now, stay tuned into this video because at some point in the video, if I hit this filter one more time, we're just going to put the filter on the ground, guys, because it's really aggravating me. It's a pop filter, so you don't hear all the pop when I talk. Make sure you hang into this video because some point in the video, we're going to show you some pictures. And these pictures are of myself while I was in prison. And we've also got some pictures of Shelly while she was in prison. So we're going to be showing you those in a few minutes. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about what my life was like. I think I'm going to Leavenworth. Yes, I've got conspiracy, first-degree murder charge. I'm surprised you're out on bond with a conspiracy, first-degree murder charge. Feel free to shoot me a text. I'd love to look up your situation and see what you got going on there. Junior, what's going on, Junior? Junior's another awesome client. Welcome, Junior. So for those of you that are getting ready to go to prison, let's kind of jump into that and talk about it. So I imagined prison being grueling. I imagined it being very similar to what county jail was like. And for those of you that didn't have the experience of maybe getting arrested initially and being brought in to county jail, even if it was a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months, if you didn't have that experience, consider yourself lucky. County jail was probably one of the roughest points of the entire journey for me, was sitting in a county jail. County jail is very gloom. It's very dark. You're mixed in there with everybody. There could be murderers sleeping next to you. There could be rapists sleeping on the other side of you. There could be robbers sleeping. You know, it's just a well mixed area of all kinds of different inmates that initially get in there until they go through processing and they get classified to the different level security that they're going to be. But normally everybody's just kind of mixed in together in a melting pot. And that can be a little bit intimidating because maybe you're there on a nonviolent first-time offender charge, maybe you misappropriated some taxes, maybe you were selling some drugs, maybe you got part of a conspiracy, and the guy next to you, you know, murdered his entire family because they looked at him the wrong way. So these are the type of things that you have to deal with that you won't be dealing with once you get into the actual prison system later on. So what my day was in prison, a day for me, a normal day in the life of RDAP Dan, and it's going to be very comparable to what a lot of you are going to go through if you decide is, and we'll leave RDAP out of it for a minute because not everybody's going to do RDAP. So we'll just talk about a normal day aside from RDAP. So a normal day for me, I went into prison overweight. I went into prison depressed. I went into prison just a lost soul. Didn't really have much drive, much of anything. Was sentenced to 42 months. Was thinking I was probably going to serve 3.5 years. So I was feeling kind of hopeless. Shelly had also just started her prison sentence. She was sentenced to 13 months. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, my girlfriend's going to get out so much sooner than me. And she's not going to be able to deal with all of this pressure and chaos that's going on. And not only am I going to lose everything, I'm also going to lose the love of my life. And just all of these thoughts, all of these negative weighted thoughts started attacking me. Well, as soon as I got to prison, within a day or two, I immediately, and I didn't even mean to fall into a routine. It just, you're going to pick up some kind of routine because the prison forces routine on you to some extent. But I would wake up at about 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning. And breakfast was usually around 6:30. So, you know, unless you're one of those guys that wakes up, you got zombie hair, you throw on something real basic and you run out to eat, you know, usually you have to be dressed Class A during breakfast and lunch. Class A means, and I'll show you, actually, let me see here. I might have a picture of Class A. Let's see. Scrolling through some pictures here, guys. I'm looking for a Class A picture. And where you be at, Class A? There we go. So for those of you that are looking at the screen right now, in Coleman, minus the lanyard around my neck, that is Class A uniform. You got to have your boots on, your greens, your shirt's got to be tucked in, you got to have your belt on, and you got to have your shirt on underneath your button-up shirt. So that's Class A that you had to wear at all times during treatment, or not treatment, during basically from morning till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, and then after 4 p.m. and also on the weekend all day long, you don't have to be wearing Class A. You can be wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So that's Class A for those of you that don't know. So when I say you have to wear Class A, when you're going to breakfast or lunch, that's how you have to get dressed. So if you're going to get up and just throw your clothes on and run out the door and try to eat, you know, sometimes you're running around, you don't have any time to relax. I like to get up, get my cup of coffee. Usually the door's open, so I'd go outside. I'd sit on like a picnic table. And it's not like a picnic table like that you see at the park. It's like a concrete picnic table that I'd go sit at, and I would just kind of relax, listen to the morning. Everything's really quiet. There's just a couple of people outside, you know, walking around. A lot of people are early morning people. And I would just sit there and drink my coffee and wait to go eat breakfast. Then I'd go eat my breakfast. I'd come back. I would usually lay down for a little bit if we still had time, maybe read a book for a few minutes. And then I'd go out to the rec yard. Early morning, I'd go out to the rec yard. I would walk the track usually. I didn't really do too much extensive exercise early in the morning because I'm still kind of waking up, going through that peaceful mindset. I'd go get on the track, which we had a half-mile track. And most prisons have tracks, whether they're half miles, quarter miles, three-quarter miles, whatever it is. You've got a track typically, and you can just walk the track. I'd put my music on with my little MP3 player, which I know we got it laying around here somewhere. Did I throw it in here? I don't know where it is. It's probably in there somewhere. Oh, wait. Not sure. Anyway, I'd put my little MP3 player on with my headphones. I'd walk the track, just listen to music. And I would usually do this till about 11 o'clock or 10:30. So from about 8 to 11, I would just be outside, just enjoying the fresh air. Unless it was super hot or super cold, then I might, you know, go to the library and, you know, read or just relax in the library. But very rarely did I stay in the unit. I didn't like to stay in the unit because there's really nothing to do in the unit. They're not going to let you sleep, for one. Most of the guards or most of the staff there are going to want you to get up, make your bed, not lay around. Some guys will try to bunk the system and sleep around and, you know, do whatever they want. But for me, it was easier just to do what you were supposed to. So I'd get up, walk around, go out in the track, maybe do a little exercise, go to the library. Then around 11:30, it's time for lunch. I go to lunch, come back from lunch, and usually lunch would last about maybe 45 minutes to an hour by the time because you have to go back to your unit. You got to wait for your unit to get called. So your unit gets called. They let one unit out at a time, maybe 2 units out at a time, go through line. Once that line gets thin, they call another unit. And they cycle out that way. Everybody's not in the chow hall at one time. It kind of gives everybody enough room to go in there, eat, get up, get out. Usually the COs, while you're eating, will tell you, get out, finish your food and get out. And if you don't finish your food sometimes, they'll come grab your tray and throw it in the garbage. So you want to make sure you don't really waste too much time when it's time to eat chow. Chow wasn't too bad. It was decent. You know, hamburgers, chicken. Usually lunch was like the best meal of the day, typically. Breakfast was, some days you had a good breakfast. A lot of the days breakfast was just like oatmeal. On the weekends we had cereal, which was my favorite breakfast. It was just bran flakes, but I absolutely love cold cereal. So I'd usually get 3 or 4 helpings of bran flakes, throw a banana in there, and, you know, 3 or 4 milks, and I was stoked. Lunches, usually we'd have chicken, or we'd have hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever they decided to give you that day, spaghetti sometimes. And after lunch, go back to the unit, let my food digest a little bit, have a quick conversation, walk around a little. Then we would get ready to go out and hit the yard, where we'd go out and start exercising, which comprised of usually maybe walking the track 1 or 2 times, going to a class where we would do, you know, cardio classes, burpee classes, spin classes. There were so many different classes to take. It was just mind-boggling how many classes you were able to take in prison, from educational classes to learning business classes. They had start your own Uber business. And this is before I really even knew what Uber was. I had heard about it, never used it. I knew the concept, didn't really grasp it too much. And I was like, hey, let me go check out one of these classes. And one of the guys in there, he was in there for something else, but prior to going to prison, he had started his own Uber business. And I don't mean just driving for Uber. This guy actually went out and financed a bunch of cars, ran it just like a taxi service, had drivers in the cars, paying the drivers, I forgot what it was, 30 or 40%. And he was just teaching you how to be able to, invest in your own company. Hold on, I got to address this guy in here. The classes that teach you how to burp. No, burpees. You need to Google what burpees are. If you're getting ready to go to prison for conspiracy for first-degree murder, you might want to learn what a burpee is. So prison is like high school. Maybe you should watch some other videos and then come back and ask some questions. But no, not how to burp, how to do burpees. So push-ups. Push-ups on steroids, basically. A glorified, different type of a push-up. So I just wanted to answer his question real quick in the room. Sorry about that. I got sidetracked. He kept popping up with his Chicago Bulls icon there. So being able to take advantage of all of these different classes, you really have the ability to expand your mind to whatever direction you want to go in, including worthless energy. You could sit there and play cards all day. You could sit there and watch TV all day when the TV room is open. Don't get me wrong, I watched my fair share of TV, but I did it in moderation. I didn't want to overdo the TV room because a lot of the situations that took place, and by situations I mean altercations, borderline fights, some of the serious arguments that you thought were going to turn into a fight typically would happen in or around the TV room. People would get really upset if they couldn't watch their certain show, if somebody wanted to watch something different. Sometimes somebody gets up to use the bathroom, somebody walks in there thinking nobody's watching it, change the channel, take a seat. Somebody comes in and says, hey, I was watching something. Well, you weren't in here. You know, I'm watching it now. And something that quick can pop off, and before you know it, you got people hitting each other, throwing chairs, trying to, rip the TV off the wall, you name it. Then they take the TV away and nobody gets to watch TV. So I stayed out of the TV room during certain hours of the day. I really only went into the TV room mostly when they played institutional movies. Institutional movies are when they would play like a movie from like Netflix that they would rent, and they'd play it through the institution player where it would play on all the TVs, and that took precedence, so people couldn't go argue what they wanted to watch. If there was an institutional movie on and people wanted to watch it, they had to put that on. There was no arguing about that. So that was where I felt most comfortable in the TV room because there wasn't any drama going on in there. And they played some pretty good movies. It's fun. You get with your friends. So we'll get back into the what a day is like. So typical Monday through Wednesday, it's kind of like, call Monday through Wednesday like your work week at work. It's kind of like there's really nothing going on. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you repeat. As you get closer and closer to the weekend, you start getting excited. The weekend's coming. You start thinking about, hey, what are we going to do this weekend? And, you're limited to what you can do in prison. And actually, the Chicago Bulls that said prisons like high school or like college, it's not all that different as far as the campus. Imagine if you were in college or in high school. For those of you that didn't go to college, if you're in high school, picture your courtyard. You've got your high school facility. You've got your courtyard. You've got your school store. You've got your school library. You've got your school music room. You've got your school football field, baseball field. You got all these things within the confines of the school property. Well, prison is similar to that, meaning you live on this compound. You can do whatever you want within the confines of the prison, within reason. That's your freedom. What you decide to do, you decide based on what you can do within the confines. So we would plan to cook meals, and this was something we'd prep earlier in the week. We would all sit, we'd get a group of us together. Usually it was me, my buddy Hurd, our friend Dan, our friend Casimir, who you guys got to meet. He came on here and talked about RDAP. A group of us would get together every week, and we would decide what we're going to make for the weekend. Maybe it was going to be nachos. Maybe it was going to be pizza. Maybe it was going to be cheesecakes. Maybe it was going to be pizza and cheesecakes or burritos. Whatever it was going to be, we would all decide what we're going to make, and then everybody would chip in and buy different ingredients on commissary. Usually we would find somebody that had no commissary money, but was really good at preparing and making the food, and their job would be put it all together, cook it, clean, all of that stuff. They were basically, the hired help, if you want to call it that. They would make everything, prepare everything, and then we would share it with them because they did the hard work. We bought it, they made it, everybody ate. And we would look really forward to this during like movies, or, Walking Dead would come on, or a football game or a basketball game. That's when we would all get together. We would have our little get together. It's just like if you're going to go to your buddy's house for the weekend, you're going to go over, watch the game. You order pizza, you make wings, nachos, same kind of a thought process in there. That's really how it felt. Block them. CJ's learning how to block somebody for the first time. You just go highlight over his name to the right of it. There should be a little toolbox. Sorry, Chicago. You got to go. See how to do it?
Remove.
Just block.
And hide user.
Put him in timeout. There should be a timeout option. Put him in timeout?
Yep.
All right, Chicago's in timeout. We're going to let him think about what he did. We don't like banning people. I like people to feel comfortable to say whatever they want to say, but this guy might not even be going to prison. I don't know many people that are in indictment for first-degree murder that are out on bond. It's not very typical, so he might be just a bullshitter. CJ bounced him.
Yes, good job.
All right, so do you still make meals like you guys used to? And so what do outside people think? Great question. Yes, Moores. Yes, we do. I've actually made a couple videos. We've made prison fried rice. Can't talk here. Prison fried rice. We've made cheesecakes. CJ hasn't got to try any of it this weekend. You know what? We're going to make a video this weekend. Prison fried rice, and CJ is going to try prison fried rice for the first time. What do you think about that, CJ?
We should do something that you haven't done a video on.
He wants to do something we haven't done a video on. So, well, maybe some nachos. Some prison nachos. Chez is like, he's probably like, isn't it just like normal nachos? Not at all. Prison nachos are way better than regular nachos. But to answer your question, Moores, most of the people that have tried the prison food have actually liked it. Now, if I tell them, this is what we made in prison, try it. They're going to go, ooh, what's in it? What, you know? But if you say, hey, try this food that I just made, they try, oh, that's really good. What is it? Oh, it's what we make in prison. So we do our best to buy the same ingredients, things like that. Oh, we got Donald Trump. Donald Trump came to see us. What's going on? That's funny. It's probably Chicago. Probably popped in under Donald Trump.
We did get a question from Mr. Bowers.
What's Bowers asking?
Do all prisons have MP3s, and do all inmates work?
As far as I know, all federal prisons have MP3s, Bowers. So yes, the question to MP3 players for federal prison is yes. As far as I know, I don't know any prison that doesn't have MP3 players. They're not free. You got to buy it. You can also buy an AM/FM radio instead of an MP3 player. And do all inmates work? Not really. Some compounds, like where I was at, there's 3,000 inmates on this compound. There's not enough jobs for inmates. So everyone's supposed to get a job, but not everybody did. I only got a job while I was in RDAP because RDAP makes you have a job. So in RDAP, they told me I needed a job, and that's a fine line you have to walk. For A, if you don't need money in prison, like you're not making money in prison, first off. If you got, I don't care if you got the best job in the world, you're not making a lot of money in prison. You're making 15, 20. I mean, maybe you've been there a while and you've really worked your way up. Maybe you found a way to make $80 to $100 a month. So you're not making a killing. But for the most part, don't forget to share the people that want to help out with some of the guys we got in. So I found a job that wasn't really hurting anybody else that needed a job. I waited for a guy that was leaving that had a job. It was a compound sweeper. So basically every Saturday and Sunday morning, there's a weekend compound sweeper. So every weekend I would wake up, I'd go eat breakfast, and when I'd come out, I'd pick up my little broom and my dustpan. And if you were fortunate enough to have a dustpan with a handle, you know, the big ones that you can hold and you can walk around with it and sweep up stuff. Not everybody had that. Some people had the old school dustpan. You had to lean down and sweep stuff up. If you had the dustpan with a handle, you were rolling. You were living large. Those were considered Cadillacs in prison. We called those Cadillacs. So I was able to purchase myself a Cadillac. I was a baller in prison. I had a Cadillac. I would take my Cadillac and my broom. I'd go sweep the compound. Mostly, the only thing I'm really sweeping up is sun because the compound's not very messy. I'd sweep up the compound for about 30 minutes, and my job was done for that day. I'd do the same thing on Sunday, and that was my whole job. I only did it on weekends and holidays. So weekends and holidays, and it wasn't that bad. I got paid, I don't know, $15 a month, something ridiculous. It was just funny when I would even see it come in. I'd see my little paycheck hit my commissary account, and it was just hilarious that, did you ban Donald?
He was just making stupid comments
about
building walls and stuff.
Okay. Chez is rough, man. He's going hard on people. We got to Chess, you gotta give people a chance. You gotta warn them first. You gotta let them know. Gotta give them the oh, lost my chat there. So don't worry, Ches will learn. CJ will get with it. You know he's new.
It's only a timeout. He can come back.
He'll be back though. He's only in timeout. So yeah, so you're supposed to have a job. Yes, you can have MP3 players. So this is for the most part what my day really consisted of. And I'm going to tell you, prison was not all bad. And that's why I really want to show you some of these pictures from prison. I want to show you the transformation. CJ. Charles says you have a power trip, CJ. CJ's holding his head down. He kind of feels bad, Charles. Unfortunately, once you ban somebody, you can't. Once they're in timeout, I think they're in timeout for 30 minutes.
300 seconds.
300. He's only in timeout for 300 seconds, so he'll be back. So Donald, Trump, if you're watching, just talk with CJ and come to a mutual agreement on there. Can you have flat? Charles Deeds.
All right, Charles.
Yeah, Charles is getting banned.
I have a feeling this is all the same guy.
It probably is. Go ahead, kick him out.
All right. We're gonna hide you. Period.
All right. Is he hidden? Okay. So Charles is gone. All right. So yes, you can have MP3 players. Yes, you can have radios. Yes, you can have headphones. You can have a light. This is the light that you would actually, I mean, they might have different ones. It's got a clip that you can clip onto your book, or you can clip onto your locker, or you can clip somewhere onto your bunk. This is the lamp. It's a little LED. It's got an on and off switch, if you can see it here. It's a little on and off switch with a little LED light. Unfortunately, mine doesn't work anymore, else I'd turn it on to show you. It would just run on batteries. Some AAA batteries go in there. And this thing was a really powerful light. We used it for a long time, even when I got home. But something happened. It finally shorted out. So when you're at nighttime, you don't want to go to bed. Lights out at 10 o'clock. It doesn't mean you have to go to sleep. You just got to be quiet. So if you want to lay there and read your book at night, that's what I used to usually do. I'd use this to write my letters, read my book. Speaking of letters, don't forget to go check out our blog. I think I might have it up here. Over at rdapdan.com, just click on the blog and click on my name. And so far, I think we have 3 or 4 letters. Coaching Corner, that's from Jenny. Also, for those of you that are trying to get into RDAP, be very, very, very careful. Here, let me bring the screen back to me for a minute. For those of you, side topic here for a second. For those of you that are trying to get into RDAP, and you're willing to do whatever it takes, be very careful. We just put a story of an attorney who is actually going to go to prison for helping a client defraud the BOP by falsifying information that is absolutely not true about substance abuse when there was no substance abuse. And we did a story on our blog right here. So if you go to the blog, these are blogs that are by me. So if you go to the main blog, it will look like this. So you get featured bloggers, scroll down. So I'm number 1 on there. If you just click on my name. So we got Trump budget proposal for federal prisons. That was today or yesterday. Coaching Corner. That's from Jenny. She does that every week. It's kind of a positive, upbeat ritual that we try to stick to. And then this one was a really important one. Attorney Scott accused of RDAP fraud. I highly suggest you guys go read that, because for those of you that are thinking about trying to get into RDAP and you're talking to prison consultants that are willing to help you scam your way into the program, you might get caught. And yeah, just scroll through here, guys, and we've got a bunch of new blogs that are up. Anyway, if you look for anything that's titled The Letter Sessions, and Jenny is working on categorizing all of those in one area, but dealing with loss, the letter sessions are letters that I wrote while I was in prison that I sent home on a regular basis. So these are all letters that I wrote. that we've had transcribed so we could put them onto the blog. So feel free to go over there and check that out.
You see that one?
Yeah, just click on hide. Mark, I saw your question, but you got to you got to rephrase it there so we can post it. It's probably might be the same guy, who knows. So check the blog out. There's a lot of really interesting information on there that you guys can learn from inside this blog. And that's the reason why we put the blog on the website. We've got inmates that send us information from the inside that we share. It's highly addictive, if you ask me, to start reading some of this stuff, especially if you're going into the prison system. So just be very careful when you're talking to prison consultants about what they're going to do. Most of you probably could qualify for RDAP without lying, without making anything up. You don't have to have a heroin addiction, or you don't have to be a junkie. You do not have to be drinking yourself into a coma to qualify for RDAP. So if you really are interested in possibly qualifying for RDAP, I went through the program. I can tell you what you need to do to qualify. More importantly, I can make sure you're doing it the right way. A prison consultant that you are deciding to use for your benefit, this prison consultant should have your interest at the forefront of his mind, but not willing to put himself or you or anybody else in jeopardy just to get you what you want. Got to remember, you did something to put yourself in this position. There's going to be some hard work and some effort you got to be willing to put in to get through this. There's no shortcuts. You're not just going to go lie and get into RDAP and fake your way through the program, because if you do, there's a good chance you're going to get slammed on your you-know-what. So let's show you some of these prison pictures. Let's kind of go through some of these pictures. And there's a very, I want you guys to look at these pictures as we go through them. Pay close attention to these pictures and tell me the one thing that you notice in every picture, the one common denominator with all pictures, other than them, you know, what an awesome guy RDAP Dan is. Beyond that fact, let's focus on what common denominator you notice. And right before we do that, I'm going to read a comment. Okay, a week ago, I got served search warrant. All my electronics were seized. The probable cause was supposedly writing fake doctor prescriptions and sending them via fax to my Walgreens. I got worried, so I called who I thought was a friend of mine to go pick him up, Walgreens drive-thru. Mark, if I were you, I'd probably give me a call either tonight or tomorrow. I would really like to hear more about what you have going on. And just be really careful. If you're not indicted, you haven't been arrested, be very careful about what you talk about, who you talk to it about, because you do not want to, you don't know if your phones are being monitored, you don't know what's going on, you don't know if you're being watched. You don't want to get yourself into additional trouble by saying things that do not need to be said yet. Do not incriminate yourself by accident. But I would like to talk to you and see where your mind is at. So my phone number is at the top of the screen, guys, 509-434-4695. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, now is a great time to do that. Subscribe just by tapping on the little the subscribe button. There's a little bell up there that gives you notifications, that puts you on a, lets you know when we go live. You'll receive notifications through YouTube to your email. And also, we make it real easy for you. All you got to do is text the word YouTube. That's Y-O-U-T-U-B-E. Text the word YouTube as you see it in the blue on the top of your screen, 76626. So text the word YouTube to 76626. That will put you on our free notification list. So in addition to what YouTube sends you, we will also send you a text reminder with the link to the video. So if you're not near a computer, you can just watch it right on your mobile phone. Mark's going to call. Okay, awesome. Secret Service served a no-knock search warrant. Yeah, Mark, this sounds pretty serious. I definitely think you should give us a call to see what we might be able to do to help you prepare for whatever is coming next. What's the latest you'd prefer someone to call? Mark, I have no sign. My sign is always on. You're not going to bug me. If I'm really busy, I won't answer the phone. You can definitely call me when we finish this video, because I'm going to be driving home and I'll turn the Bluetooth on in the car and you and I can have a quick conversation. If it needs to go anywhere from there, we can pick up the conversation tomorrow. But I know what you're going through. I was there, and that stress can compound itself. So you're you're not going to bug me, please use and abuse my phone number as much as I allow you guys to. Okay, so we're going to go look at these pictures real quick, and I want you guys to tell me what you notice about all of these pictures, and I'll talk you guys through the pictures. All pictures that are prison pictures, not so much the first one because the first one's not a prison picture. So before we show you the pictures, everyone's waiting. We got more watchers on this video, probably because we're going to show prison pictures. Okay, so these prison pictures, it's kind of a transition of before I went into prison, as I was in prison, as I got close to going out of prison. So you'll kind of see the transformation, how I was able to, in 13 months, really lose a lot of the, we're going to call it baby fat. I was able to lose a lot of the chub and get in good shape, but that's not what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on what you notice about all of these pictures. And remember, we were in prison. Okay, here we go. Okay, so picture one. Right now, all you see is a black screen. Picture one is 30 days before I went to prison. And I'm sorry, it's a little dark. It's the best I could get it. This is 30 days before I went to prison. This was at a water park in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a ski park, a cable park. You can see all the cables behind me. Basically, you would there was cables that would just go around the park, and you'd go wakeboarding or kneeboarding. Myself, Shelly, and my daughter, we all went there. Oh, there's no picture of Oliver, Jenny. Now you ruined it. Now you make me feel bad because I have no picture of Jenny. Or, I mean, I have no picture of Oliver. Next time, we'll get pictures of Oliver and Einstein on here. So this was 30 days before I went to prison. So this was 2014. We're going to call it August-ish. August something. Okay? The next picture, we're going to go back to a black screen here for a minute. The next picture is as I was growing out my beard. This is probably about 3 or 4 weeks into the prison system. I'm the Al-Qaeda looking guy in the middle, and to the right, to your right and your left, to the right side is my buddy Dan, and to the left side was my buddy Julio. Julio's still in prison. He's serving. He's got about 17 years left. Dan just got out. Dan's been out for a little bit now. He's doing really good. But as you can see, I was still pretty chubby. I had a pretty serious beard, not beer. Been there, great place. So yeah, so that was, we'll call that about a month and a half into my prison sentence. Now, right around this time, when this picture was taken, I decided time to lose the beard because I realized this place wasn't that bad. I started meeting some really cool people. And here, let's see if we can bring in, here, we'll do this so you guys can still see me talking. We're going to do webcam. There we go. There's RDAP Dan. And we'll do this. We'll shrink it down. All right, this way I don't have to miss you guys. All right. So this was about 4 to 6 weeks into my prison sentence. And this is when I started to change. This is when I started reading Tony Robbins. This is when I started getting into exercising. Now remember, I still had this brutal surgery that I just had done on my arm. As you guys can see, that scar. I think you can see it. This was the scar that happened from tearing my bicep off of my tendon. And I had the surgery about 30 days, about 60 days before I went into prison is when I had the surgery. So I couldn't really do a whole lot with my biceps. So I had to find things that I could do exercise-wise that were not requiring me to do stuff with my bicep. I couldn't play handball, couldn't even lift any of the makeshift weights we had. So I did a lot of cardio, I did a lot of cycling or spin classes, things like that. So let's go to the next picture. All right, so as you can see in this picture, this is probably about maybe 3 weeks after the last picture. The beard's gone. I'm starting to feel a little more confident. I got my headphones on. As you can see, I've got headphones. I've got sunglasses. You can buy sunglasses in prison. You can buy headphones in prison, so you can see some of the commissary stuff that you can purchase. None of this stuff was illegal. This is going into about... So I've been at the prison now for probably 2.5 months-ish at this point. I used to take pictures pretty religiously, just because I wanted to try to do the best I could do to really track this progress and not just the progress, but track this journey. And I felt like pictures would bring me back, looking at them physically, going, oh, I remember what I was doing during this time. And it's weird. It really does. So if you guys do go to prison, take a lot of pictures. Take a lot of pictures and write a lot of letters, because this stuff will come back to you later on. So let's go to the next picture. That's picture. Oop, what happened there? All right. So this is this might be around the same time frame. This might be a couple of weeks later, another week. This was just a picture of me and my friend Josh. Josh is the white guy on the other side of me, and my friend Tex, who's in the middle. And I think we were just out. We weren't working out, even though we're sweating. We're in Florida, and it's fucking hot, to be honest. This is at nighttime. We were just out walking around. We were out walking the track. We decided, hey, it's Friday night. I wanted to take a picture. You have to buy picture tickets. Pictures aren't free. So when you go to commissary every week, you can, just like you can buy tuna fish and beans and all these other things, you can buy what's called a picture ticket for $1 per picture. So I used to buy like maybe 5 picture tickets a month, and I would use that throughout the month to take photos on the weekends. You can usually only take photos on the weekends, and then during visitations you can take photos. Let me see, we got some questions. Serious question. What happens if you get a surrender date and you go on the run and never show? Don't want to interrupt you whenever you have time. You will get an escape charge, and you will probably get additional time if you go on the run, Mark. It's not worth it. What was the beard for? Trying to look thuggish. No, Marco. The beard was actually to look dirty and smelly. I didn't want anybody to rape me. He wants to know about the beard. Let's go back to the beard pic. See, we're on picture 3. So we're going to go back to the beard picture for a second, for those of you that didn't get to see the beard picture. Oop, that's not the beard picture. The beard picture. I figured no one's going to want to rape the hairy guy. There's plenty of other pretty looking guys on the compound that were going to get raped before me. So I didn't want to get raped. And I figured they won't rape me if I look like an Al-Qaeda member and I'm overweight. So I stopped working out, stopped everything. All right. So we were on this picture, right? So, okay, let's go to the next picture. Moving right along, making progress. All right, this was probably about 3 weeks after the last picture. Now you can see there's no weights in there. There's no steroids. There's nothing any like that. My arm's starting to heal. I can start doing pull-ups and push-ups now. Starting to feel better. Starting to get more confidence. Starting to join these classes. It's a little chilly outside. Had to take my big shirt off so I could try to show my physique as I was improving. So I wanted to show my progress. So it's cold outside and I was freezing. So as you can see, you can also buy a watch on commissary. You see I'm wearing a Iron Man watch. I'm wearing tennis shoes that I bought on commissary. I'm wearing a winter hat, like a little beanie cap or whatever you want to call it. It's pretty warm. I still got that beanie cap. Actually, that whole outfit that you're seeing right there, minus the shoes, I still have all of that. It's all sitting in my closet right now. Once in a while, I wear it around the house because it's actually pretty comfortable. What was the Julio guy? I'm just reading another question on the chat. What was the Julio guy in there 17 years for? If I remember correctly, Julio was in there for, it was either methamphetamine or, what's the other big drug? Not heroin. Meth. I think it was meth. We're going to go with meth. It was a drug. He was in there for selling large quantities of jugs. Joan Bowers, you can take pictures. Absolutely. You must have just joined us. Joan's asking if you take pictures. So just to recap that real quick, when you buy commissary items, you can purchase on your commissary what's called picture tickets. It basically comes on your bottom of your receipt, and let's say you buy 5 picture tickets. At the bottom of your receipt, it'll just print out extra levels at the bottom, and you rip one off, and that's a ticket. So it's not like official tickets. It's just a ripped off bottom of your receipt that has a little number on there that represents a picture ticket that you have to turn in when you, it wasn't fentanyl, Mark. I believe it was what I just said. What did I just say? That he sold? Meth. Sorry, my mind's focused on the video. No, pretty sure it was meth, not crack, Bonnie. So yes, you can buy picture tickets. So this was probably from the time I got to prison to where I am right now. This might be about 90 days in, give or take. You know, I should have marked the dates on them, but I didn't think about that at the time. But this is about 90 days in. So we'll go back 30 days before I went in. 30 days before I entered prison. 90 days into prison. It's like P90X right here, huh? Now, my diet was super clean. I was living on tuna, beans, brown rice, protein bars, peanut butter. Wasn't drinking any soda. I wasn't doing a lot of sugar. Was just eating really clean. And in prison, you have the ability to really work out way more than you do in the real world. So I was doing a lot of walking, a whole lot of walking. The average inmate probably walks somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20 miles per day. No, that's not exaggerating. And now there are inmates that don't walk at all, but the average inmate that's into any type of exercise at all is probably doing 10 to 15 miles a day, just because walking is one of the biggest things to do to really clear your mind. Are you going to show some? Oh, my kids have seen all of these, Mark. Absolutely. So going down to the next picture here, guys. So this was about, I would say, about 3 months in.
Who takes the pictures?
They have an inmate takes the pictures. An inmate is assigned a job, and his job is to, and it's a nice camera. We're talking a nice Canon DSLR camera. It's a professional camera they got in there for taking pictures. So an inmate takes the pictures. So they're trusting an inmate. It's a job that the inmate has, and it's a good job. That's one of the jobs everybody wants, so nobody screws that job up. Was that a question in there, or was it a question you had?
I actually put it in there too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, if you see a question in there, let me know.
Yeah.
So, all right, so next picture. So this picture that you're looking at right now is about 90 days in. This one, I'm not really sure when we took this picture, but this was a group picture that you can also take group pictures. Let's see. Everybody in this picture is out, except, I don't even know how to point to anybody in here. So if you're on the top row and you're going from left to right, left being the big guy. The big guy was my co-defendant, actually. His name was Sean. Kind of a scumbag. But Sean was my co-defendant. Jay, he's out. He's somebody I talk to on a regular basis on Facebook. The guy next to him, I can't think of his freaking name. Frankie. Frankie's still in. Frankie's got about 11 years left. And everybody else is out. And I'm the guy in the front holding the coffee. That was my prison coffee cup. Another commissary item you can buy in commissary is a prison cup. Other inmates take them. They are assigned jobs.
Yeah, somebody just asked. They must have missed for you.
Oh yes, other inmates take the pictures. It's a specific inmate. It's not just anybody. It's a job that an inmate has, and it's a job. I mean, there's a line. When you go to do picture day, you got to get there early because there's a line probably of some days 60 or 70 people waiting to take a picture, and you got to wait. You'll put your name on a piece of paper, and they'll say come back in an hour. And if you come back and they miss you, they don't call your name, or they call your name and you don't hear them, you're beat. You missed your picture. Once in a while, they'll take the picture and you'll never get it. So, you know, there was some pictures that I never received. But this was a group picture. Group pictures, they won't let you have in the prison. The group pictures have to get mailed out. The pictures of just you can have those in your unit and keep them. The group pictures, you have to, the day that it gets ready, so you take a picture on a Friday, the following week, you go to get your pictures. You don't get them the same day. So you go the following week, that's when you pick up your picture, and if it's a group picture, you got to bring an envelope with a stamp on it, addressed where it's going to go, and you have to mail out of the prison. They won't let you have it in the prison. We found some creative ways to get them back, though. So this picture, I'm not exactly sure when this was taken, probably taken right around the same time that the last one was taken, which was that one. But let's go to the next one. So this was another picture taken probably 4 months in, 4.5 months, something like that, 4.5 months in. I'm wearing my green pants. Those are your prison issued pants. The white tank top is not prison issued. None of the tank tops you're seeing are prison issued. These were things that I bought off commissary. You can buy tank tops and whatnot off commissary. So it's kind of nice. You can buy some like regular clothes to go work out in and whatnot. It just makes things. You can see I'm wearing the green band on my wrist. That's an RDAP band. And as you'll see, as I go through the pictures, you'll see the band changing colors. So the green band is phase 1. I was in phase 1 of 10 months of RDAP. So there's 3 phases. So I was in my first part of phase 1 wearing that green band right there. Crazy memories. And that's my water bottle in the background. All right, let's go to picture number 7. This was, you guys kind of saw this one earlier. I wanted to be able to show my kids. They were asking what I had to wear in prison. And this was your full prison uniform. And when you're in RDAP, you have to wear your lanyard. You can see the thing around my neck. That's the, God, is my lanyard's probably here too somewhere. That's an RDAP lanyard that you have to have on at all times to represent RDAP, to make sure that you've got, okay, you have to have your wristband on at all times, which I still have my RDAP wristband on. So you have to have your RDAP wristband on at all times, and you have to wear your lanyard at all times. This way, it's easy for staff to pick you out. So if you're doing something stupid, it's real easy to get in trouble because other inmates see that you're RDAP. People are going to tell on you. A lot of staff in there do not like RDAP, so they're just waiting for you to screw up so they can go get you in trouble. So you really have to watch your P's and Q's in there and stay on your A game and not allow yourself to slip up and get caught in something stupid. So really focusing on consequences was a hard lesson learned for me. So that's the full uniform in prison. And in RDAP, your clothes have to be ironed and pressed. You can see creases in my pants. You know, my belt's on. That's how I was dressed 99% of the time, unless I was working out. Dr. Asmat is still doing time, Mark. He received 11 years, so he'll be in for a little while.
Juan Carlos showed up, had a question.
What's up, Juan? Hemp? No, Juan, it's not a hemp belt. It looks like a hemp belt. I know. Somebody else asked me that. Juan. Juan's definitely going to get a hemp belt when he's allowed to get one. Juan Carlos is one of our clients who just got sentenced. He got sentenced to, kind of unheard of, 1 day in prison. 1 day.
And Bonnie had a question about jobs.
Oh, we got Shelly in the room. Town driver. So Shelly was at a camp where you could actually have a driving job. So if you're at a camp, you can have a job where you're driving and your job title is town driver, where you drive other inmates to like medical, you can drive them to the airport. It's just cool. You get to drive off the compound. You have a car. You got this giant, looks like, you know, in the old movies where they had the metal suitcase that was kind of handcuffed to their wrist. You've got a suitcase like that. It's not handcuffed to you, but it's got basically a satellite phone in there, GPSed. So if something happens and your car breaks down, you can call and say, hey, I'm broken down on the side of the road. I'm not trying to escape. So that's kind of neat. We didn't have those at the low.
And Bonnie had a question. Which jobs are considered desirable? Which job sucks? How do you get them, and how do you get out of them?
Desirable jobs would probably be stuff in the law library, stuff in education. To me, no job was desirable because you're not making any money in prison. So no jobs were desirable. Now, if you have to have a job, Shelly's in the room. She'd probably be a good question for that, being she was at a camp. Shelly, what are some of the, if you're still in the room, Shelly, what are some of the desirable jobs at a camp? Thank you, Juan. Appreciate that. It was, you know, I honestly, you know, I told you, I didn't think you were going to get that sentence because I know your co-defendant got it, and I didn't think you were going to only receive 1 day. So I was definitely busting your ass to work as hard as you could because that is a blessing, brother, a blessing. Commissary jobs. So Shelly's telling us commissary jobs are great jobs to have. Plumbing jobs, according to Shelly, suck. So any kind of a manual labor job is probably not going to be the most desirable job, being you're probably only making 20, 30 bucks a month at the most. So hopefully that answers some of your questions, Bonnie. Here, let's go ahead and go down to the next picture. So that is that's Dapper Dan right there. Next one. All right, there's the infamous. This picture's been used for damn near everything, creating our RDAP gear. You can see I'm wearing the white wristband. I've been in prison for several months now. I'm getting ready to go home. I'm feeling good. Probably the best damn shape I've ever been in my entire life. But this was my transformation in 13 months. And if it wouldn't have been for prison, never would I have not to say I couldn't have done this, wouldn't have had the desire, the time, the energy, the resources. Just an amazing process. that I was able to take. So we're going to go back to, so this is about 2 weeks before I went home. So let's bring up the first picture in prison. Shelly said all the girls at the camp, because I used to send these pictures to Shelly. So that was month 1, 13 months later. Just a transformation. So now that you got there, actually, we've got some more pictures. I'll let you guys look at that one for a little bit, because people are probably like, how the fuck? And as you can see, you got decent shoes in there. I had some Adidas. These are shoes I bought on Commissary. Some white socks. I'm still wearing the same watch. Got the white wristband on, the same one I'm wearing right now. Other than that, I had a tan. In Florida, you get tan. Could you have gotten steroids in prison if you knew someone and wanted some? I don't know. I mean, I imagine people were getting drugs in prison, but there was no weights, so I don't know what steroids are going to do for you. At least where I was at, there was no weights, so unless you're going to get steroided up and go do a gazillion push-ups, I don't know. But there's just a lot of calisthenic type classes in prison. So let's take you guys on and continue this journey. And Shelly, if you're still watching, we've got some pictures of you. So here's some pictures of the lovely Shelly in prison. This was Shelly and one of her friends, Christy. Shelly was at the same prison as me. She was at the camp. She was at the camp. I was at the low, so it wasn't like a co-ed prison. But it's pretty unique. I knew I was going to go to Alabama this week, one way or another. I'm going to Talladega to work on NASCAR. Yeah, Juan Carlos is living the life. He's part of NASCAR's pit crew, which he started as trying to do community service to help his situation while he was going through pretrial, and ended up getting picked up as a regular gig. So that's awesome, you know. And that's the thing. A lot of you guys, when you're going through pretrial, and we get you to doing these things to help your situation by getting engaged in your community, doing community service, a lot of it starts to stick and becomes a serious part of your life. So this is Shelly and her bunkie, Christy. And as you can see, they got smiles on their face. They got the background going with the little, you know, the background drop. Let's check out another picture of Shelly. This is Shelly and our other 2 co-defendants. These are 2 people that also were on our same case. The middle lady is Candace, and the other lady on the other side is Adele. They worked with us at the doctor's office at the pain clinic. They all relatively got similar sentences for the most part, but, you know, look at them. They don't look miserable. So for those of you that are afraid and terrified of going into the prison system, thinking it's going to be the worst thing in life, it feels like it right now. But look at those faces. Those do not look like faces of somebody that hates life and hates everything about where they are. You adapt to your surrounding, and it's not the worst surrounding in the world. Let's see. I think we got one more here of Shelly. So this is Shelly and like their whole little crew here. Let me try to get my picture out the way here. Let's move this picture over a little bit. So that's Shelly and the ladies. So you got Shelly, Candace, and Adele are in those photos, and then the rest of the people are people I don't know that Shelly made friends with while she was in prison. And it's just a different world, guys. It's just a different environment. It's not the end of the world. You will get past this. You just have to realize that it's one day at a time. And when you embrace the day and you live in the moment, prison's not the worst place. You lose cell phone communication. You lose access to the internet. And some of these things aren't bad. It allows you to reconnect with human beings and do things. And it's what you do with your time. That's why your preparation for your release from prison should start right now. Getting a good understanding of what you don't need to fear in prison is really what a lot of this comes down to. Fearing prison is what creates most of the sleepless nights and the anxiety that I know that affected me and attacked me on a regular basis. I know it's the same thing for a lot of you, that the sleepless nights of anxiety and thinking about what is prison going to be like. It's a very hard pill to swallow. So I'm telling you, if you can really get your mind wrapped around not focusing on that and focusing on what you can do to better your situation, there's a reason why we've created this. Jenny's got an amazing roadmap to success plan that we've just started and we're launching. We have a new coaching process that we're able to offer now, where those of you that are clients, even if you're not clients and you want to take part of this, we can talk to you about what you need to do to get involved. But we're going to have a weekly coaching session where we can do coaching with how you deal with your anxiety, tools and exercises to get you through the day, to help you get through the week, and ways you can measure your success and measure your ability to move on from this, because preparing properly right now is going to help you serve your time in prison successfully. Successfully does not necessarily mean not going to prison, and it does not necessarily mean getting a reduced sentence. Successfully means finding a way to cope with what's coming next and be okay with that and be content with that, be able to explain to your family, communicate properly with your family. These are the things that are ultimately going to get you through. When you start doing these things, when you start doing the steps and quit trying to find the shortcut, the magic wand. Juan Carlos would tell you, Juan, what are some of the crazy things you thought about doing while you were on pre-trial that you thought might get you out of this sooner? What are some of the shortcuts that you wanted to take that made me like literally fall out of my chair listening to you talk? Feel free to talk about those in the room, or if you don't want to mention them, don't mention them. You've already been sentenced, so it's not like they can resentence you. Feel free to discuss some of the thoughts, some things that you thought were a good idea at the time that we had to talk you back down into reality to have you not do. There is no shortcut, guys. There is no shortcut. The only way to a successful sentencing, a successful reentry, getting into RDAP, getting reduction, getting additional halfway house, is doing it the right way. We pride ourselves on this. There are other companies out there that will tell you what you want to hear. They'll say the things you want to hear. They might even do the things you want them to do, but ultimately it is not doing you or your family any good. If you are a manipulator, if you are doing things for the wrong reason, if you do not identify that you have weaknesses and you have flaws in your thinking, then you're not ready yet. Because if you didn't have flaws in your thinking, you wouldn't be facing a federal prison sentence. It's probably really that simple. CJ, RDAP, oh, come visit my website, rdapdan.com. Also, don't forget, we've got a lot of people that are in, see, look what Juan Carlos is typing right now. Get a fake passport. Leave the country. Buy community service. Leaving the country was a huge one. Spent months trying to figure out how to do that. He spent months trying to figure out how to bail and fly the coop. He was going to go pay somebody $10,000 for community service hours without doing any of them. I think he actually paid somebody and they dicked him and didn't give him the community service hours. And he called me after the fact. Those are just insanities to me. Insanities. But I was in that spot where I would have done anything and everything to get myself through it too. And that's why I'm here trying to bring down the reality of the weight and the scope of where you guys are. That's why I do these videos. I like to hear myself talk clearly. And how long is this video, Chaz? We're an hour and 3 minutes, so we're going to wrap it up here in a second. But this was an interesting video. This one was worth to go a little bit longer. I think we covered a lot of stuff in this video today that we don't always get to cover. The unknown future is the biggest fear. Connor Dykes couldn't have said it best. Just spoke to Connor today, looking at federal prison. He's looking at retaining our services. We have to find a way to fit him into our services. Connor's on a budget, just like so many of you. And we really do pride ourselves on not turning away at people just because they can't afford the price. So we will find a way to make it work for Connor if we have to. But Connor's got to be willing to be flexible too. And we can meet in the middle. We can make something work for him. But what he's saying right there, the unknown really is the number one thing, because we are creatures of habit. Maybe we think we're not control freaks, but we are. We like to be in control. We like to know what's going on. We like to know how things are going to end. Nobody likes a movie that has an open end. Like, what? This movie fucking sucked. What happened? There is no closure in this movie. Well, that's how this can be. There's no closure until you're sentenced. Actually, there's no closure until you're in prison. Because until you step foot in there, you just don't know what it's going to be like. So that's a great, as well said, Connor, because that's exactly how I felt, and that's exactly how everybody else feels. Juan Carlos, yeah, 5K and a pound of weed and didn't get shit, didn't find a place. I could get 8 hours a day. Juan jumped. Now, if he just, after he did that, that's when he clicked into gear and said, let me just go do this for real. And in the end, Juan, how many community service did you legitimately have logged? He had a lot. So we're going to let Juan tell us that here in a second. While Juan is talking about that, so Dr. Golson, is that how you pronounce his last name? Goldstein. Yeah. So I was interviewed by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Golson, and he has a podcast, and it's called Letters from Prison. No, what is it called? Prison Letters. So if you Google actually CJ will put it into the room here. He's going to grab the link right now and throw it into the room. It's actually a link in the description of this video as well. But he interviewed me on a podcast, on his podcast, and we had a really good interview. We actually did a part 2, which was a video interview, which we'll be posting up very soon. But I really think you guys might want to go check out this podcast, because I've talked about things that I haven't really spoke about with a lot of you. He's definitely he's a doctor that pulls some stuff out of you, and he got me inside my head, and he got me talking about things that I haven't talked about in a long time: manipulating, lying, the way I used to be, how I don't ever want, how I'm fearful of being like that again, how I use this company to prevent that from happening. I use this as a pacifier to keep me at bay, because I know the person that I was is one thought away from doing things that I shouldn't do. So check out the link that CJ just posted in the room. There was a podcast that I did, well, he did, that interviewed me on this podcast. And, you know, in addition, you guys already know I like to hear myself talk, but I really listened to the podcast objectively, and it was a podcast really, really well done. Can they listen? Can who listen, Cynthia? What if you're tapped and not charged? What if you're taped and not charged yet and call? Can they listen?
I got it.
CJ is going to get that. And Cynthia, please do not hesitate to pick up the phone and give us a call. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel shy. Trust me, we've all been there. I don't care what it is, what you got going on. We talk to everybody about all kinds of different things. Juan Carlos had more than 300 hours, and he got 4 more in today. And he's already been sentenced. So now he's doing it for the right reasons. He's doing it because he likes what he's doing. That's what it does. It creates new habits. It creates new feelings. It creates new purpose. And it redevelops and redesigns the type of person you were into the person you want to be. And what you guys don't realize at the time is the process to change is not immediate. It is not an immediate event. It takes time to get to be the person you want to be. And once you think you're that person, that's when you're subject to fall apart and get your face kicked in, because now you're getting complacent. Do not allow yourself to get complacent. I battle with complacency every single day. And that's why doing this job, this career, this passion, this hobby, this thing that I love to do, between talking to on YouTube and talking to you guys on the phone and reading your PSRs and coming up with strategies and how we can help position you, it keeps me grounded, and and hearing your stories riddles my bones and my mind and my ears with, oh my God, it's so easy to fall it's so easy to become involved in these circumstances, because so many people are one choice away from prison. Our CPA came today to help us with our financials and our books and stuff, and talking to him and telling him what my fears are, why I want him. We have a pretty good grasp on the books, maybe not the best, but I don't want to leave it up to chance that I did something wrong that could possibly land me in prison. I'm on federal probation. I have a criminal record. The last thing I need to do is look like or appear that I'm doing something shady intentionally. So I want to make sure whatever we're doing is not just above water. It's like mountain levels above water. Like we can't even see water so far down below us. We're not above water. Water doesn't exist in my universe. If I can see the water, my thinking's getting fucking offbeat. So that's why we brought in somebody today to make sure that our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. That's how important it is. So Juan Carlos is in here shedding some light on what he's done. And he's been with us for a very long time. We've had several clients. You do not hear about a lot of federal indictments of people receiving probation or non-prison sentences. However, you've seen quite a few on this channel. Not saying it's something we did, but I'm saying there is a coincidence between our roadmap to success and probation. There is some correlation that goes on between those two things. We're doing stuff that is groundbreaking, that is usually not going to be approved by your attorney. Not going to lie. Most of your attorneys, it's so uncharted and so untested in their view that they like to ride the side of caution. So not knocking the attorneys, just saying, if you're an attorney and you're out there, you need to learn a little bit more about our programs and our approaches, because we are seeing amazing results. We have not seen bad results yet. We don't always see probation or shortened sentences, but we don't ever see what we're doing enhance somebody's prison sentence. If that were the case, we would stop cold turkey. Everything we've done is either put somebody in a better position or did not affect them adversely at all. So that to me is a win-win-win-win-win all day long. That's all we got for you guys today. Make sure you come check us out on the internet, rdapdan.com. In the description of this video, maybe CJ will grab that too. There's a link to our Facebook business/fan. I don't know if it's a business page. We don't make money off of it. It's like a fan page. It's the first link in there, Jez. In the description there.
Facebook page. Yep.
So grab that link, throw it in there. Look, there's a you can give me a rating on Facebook. You can give me a 1. You can say, I'm going to rate you 1 out of 5 stars because you suck and we hate you. That's fine. But go on there and rate it. If I've done something to help you, whether you're a client or you just gotten some great information, go post it on the internet. Go tell the world about what we're doing, because Google searches for information. And when they start seeing the same information popping up, that becomes relevant content, and we can get this word spread. Share these videos. Do what you can. There's 21 of you in this room right now. How many thumbs ups do we have, CJ?
16.
16 thumbs up. If you haven't hit a thumbs up yet, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't shared this video yet, if you haven't taken a minute to go online and leave me a review, whether it be on Facebook or anywhere else you can leave a positive review, go do that for me. Those are some things that you can do to help us. If you want to help some of the unfortunate people we have that are in prison right now, that are indigent, that don't have support, don't have family members, we're going into summertime right now, thank God, so they're not going to be freezing. But if you want to help them out with some hygiene products, some coffee, some basic necessities they may need, there is a link that CJ is posting right now as we speak that goes to our donation PayPal page. And you can give a donation from 5 cents to whatever you want to give. There's no amount is too small. Every penny helps. You can also click on the money symbol that's just below the chat. That's another way you can donate. Whatever is easier for you guys, we appreciate it. Again, that donations do not go to us. That goes to spread the wealth, and it goes to help the people that are going without. All right, guys, I am RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting. People helping people, community is method, one day at a time. Make sure, Connor Dykes, by the way, call me if you have time tonight. I will give you a call, Connor. By the way, look forward to our Monday interview. Saturday, we don't know what's going on Saturday yet, but Monday is going to be an interview with an attorney who's been indicted, who's lost his license, is going to be going to prison, and he's going to tell us his story and how he's getting through this and what benefits he's found by working with us and how we were able to work with him. All right, guys, have a great week. I will talk to you guys soon. I'm RDAP Dan. I love every single one of you. For those of you that need to call me, feel free. Call me in the next 30 or 40 minutes. If I don't pick up, shoot me a text message, and I promise between now and the next hour and a half, I will try to get back to everybody. All right, guys, have a great week. Peace.